Good morning and welcome to the Technical Assistance webinar for the Federal Fiscal Year 23 State Formula Grant Request for Application. This call is for planning grants. We're going to go ahead and get started. Few housekeeping items. Please sign in to the chat box so we can record who or keep track of who's on the call today. This call is intended for planning grant applicants. Planning grants do not receive AmeriCorps or do not have AmeriCorps members attached to their grant. The purpose is for planning an AmeriCorps program. So if you are interested in hosting members in the 23-24 program year, this is not the call for you, although you're welcome to stay on. Recordings of all of our webinars, including this one, will be posted on our website at servewashington.wa.gov. The agenda of our call today is to discuss the purpose of AmeriCorps funding, just go over who's eligible to apply for this grant opportunity, the process and timeline for the grant application, and then some of the request for grant application key highlights with some helpful hints and tips, and then a Q&A session at the end. To kick us off, there is a great video about what is AmeriCorps that I can't get to play right now. My apologies. If you Google or on YouTube, type in what is AmeriCorps, you will find this video. It talks a little bit about what AmeriCorps is. To go over some statistics about national service in Washington, we currently have about 700 local service sites in communities across our state. There are over 5,000 AmeriCorps seniors and AmeriCorps members serving. And in total, there's about $35.2 million in AmeriCorps federal and local funding to match those programs, supporting volunteerism and national service in Washington state. And as members complete their term of service, they receive an education award. And so far, since 1994, over $180 million has been earned by AmeriCorps members serving in Washington in education awards. AmeriCorps brings people together to tackle some of the country's most pressing challenges through national service and volunteering. AmeriCorps members and volunteers serve with organizations dedicated to the improvement of communities. AmeriCorps helps make service a cornerstone of our national culture. To achieve this end, AmeriCorps funding is awarded to eligible organizations that propose to engage AmeriCorps members in a variety of different interventions to strengthen communities. Then there are the state service commissions like Serve Washington, and we receive the AmeriCorps funding from the federal agency, AmeriCorps, and it was previously known as the Corporation for National and Community Service, or CNCS. So if you hear those terms or see that acronym, they're referring to AmeriCorps, the agency. Serve Washington then passes through this funding to local programs. And AmeriCorps funds are funneled through state service commissions in two different funding streams. The first is a formula funding stream that happens every year in the spring and is for programs that want to have between 10 and 35 AmeriCorps members. And then there's a second competitive process that takes place in the fall that is for 20 or more AmeriCorps members And in that competition, applicants are competing with other applications from around the country, whereas in the state formula, competition, decisions are made at the state level, and so applicants are only competing with other applicants within Washington State. Overall, the focus of AmeriCorps funding is guided by the Serve America Act. And then in April of 2009, the Edward M. Kennedy Serve America Act was signed into law by President Obama. Through this law, Congress directed AmeriCorps to focus on some national service focus areas where service can make a major impact. Those focus areas are disaster services, economic opportunity, education, environmental stewardship, healthy futures, and veterans and military families. While these are the main focus areas, other focus areas are allowable as long as it's addressing a community, human, environmental need. Because this formula competition is happening at the state level, Serve Washington is able to determine some of our own state priorities in reflection of what we're hearing from our Board of Commissioners and Governor's initiatives. The priorities for this current grant cycle include service strategies that are driven by community identified priorities, organizations that are led and staffed by people that reflect the communities being served, programs that strive to recruit and select national service members that reflect communities being served, programs that strive to recruit and select national service members with high school credentials and offer new and/or additional professional development opportunities to those members. Models that utilize service as a strategy to develop career pathways, address the housing crisis, and tackle climate change. Programs that replicate proven models that support a locally identified need, and models that engage adults 55 years and older. Additionally, Serve Washington seeks to ensure resources are available to tribes, rural communities, underrepresented communities, and reflect a geographically diverse portfolio. To talk about AmeriCorps members, they must spend a majority of their time participating in direct service activities. Direct services are those that address human need or the environment in one form or another. It is engaging directly with people to support change or performing service that is involved in creating a community impact. Administrative tasks necessary to perform those direct services are inherent. However, want to caution programs against excessive administrative tasks or the administrative tasks unrelated to that direct service. Indirect service is defined as training and fundraising, and it is allowable, but is limited. The most important piece of information to relay about AmeriCorps service is that at least 70% of the members' overall time must be spent doing that direct service. A maximum of 20% of time can be dedicated to training, and a maximum of 10% of each member's time can be dedicated to fundraising. Serve Washington funds programs that operate in teams of 10 or more. If you're looking for a smaller team or maybe an individual member, we suggest that you explore some of our intermediary programs. They're programs that partner with local organizations to place 1 or 2 members or small teams. If you're interested in having a member that does focus more on that indirect service, that capacity building, we encourage you to check out AmeriCorps Vista. And if you're looking for somebody to do a short-term, one-time project, we invite you to explore the AmeriCorps NCCC. The links for all of these will be included in the presentation PDF of this webinar this morning, this call this morning, and will be on our available funding website. Oh, also, I do want to note that planning grants do not receive AmeriCorps members. So I'm talking about AmeriCorps members right now to give an idea of what an AmeriCorps program should look like. However, if you're wanting to kick off and have members starting in the fall of 2023, that would be an operational grant. The planning grants do not receive AmeriCorps members. Just want to be clear on that. So some other things I want to talk about regarding AmeriCorps members. AmeriCorps is not intended to duplicate activities in the locality of a program. So organizations may not displace or supplant an employee or volunteer position or duties with an AmeriCorps member or an AmeriCorps position. By law, there are a number of activities that are not allowed, such as attempting to influence legislation, engaging in religious instruction, providing direct benefit to a for-profit business, providing abortion services, duplicating services, again, that duplication, and then displacement of paid workers, and many more. If you are new, please consult with the RFGA and check out the prohibited activities, which are listed in 45 CFR 2520.65. Another thing I want to be sure to note for all of you to know, AmeriCorps members are not employees. They serve or perform service. They're defined by law as a participant in an approved national service position, not employees, and organizations should really refrain from language such as work or job when describing AmeriCorps members or service. Some more about AmeriCorps members. How do you get them once you have an operational grant? There will need to be a large focus on recruitment that can be done at the local level and or the national level, and is a program responsibility. Part of the planning grant curriculum talks about recruitment and helps develop a recruitment strategy and plan. Now, service terms. There are multiple service types that AmeriCorps members can serve in. There is a term of service that's very short at 100 hours. And then there's full-time terms that are 1,700 hours. Those full-time 1,700-hour positions usually equates to a 10 to 12-month program. Members do receive benefits for serving in AmeriCorps. They receive a living allowance. For those full-time 1,700-hour members, there is a minimum that their living allowance is $17,600 for the upcoming program year. That changes each year, but wanted to let you know what it is for the 23-24 to give you an idea. Individuals serving in AmeriCorps may also be able to receive healthcare benefits, childcare, and loan forbearance for college loans that they might have. And successful completion of a term of service can mean a member, or at a successful completion, excuse me, members do earn an education award. It can be used to pay off qualified student loans or to pay for educational opportunities at qualifying schools and institutions of learning. So now we've talked about members. Who is eligible to apply for these funds? For a planning grant, eligible entities need to be new organizations, brand new to AmeriCorps, or not having AmeriCorps within the last several years, I believe it's 5, or new projects. If you are a current program but are interested in a brand new project, you can apply for a planning grant. Eligible entities for AmeriCorps funding may be nonprofits, institutions of higher education, state and local government, and tribal governments. Additionally, organizations must also have a unique entity identifier number, which is the UEI number, an EIN, which is an employer identification number, and must be registered in SAM, the US government's System for Award Management. If those acronyms and that language is new to you, please refer to the RFGA to learn more. And then for this planning grant process, the project period will be August 1st of 2023 through July 31st of 2024. And what does this process look like? You will submit your grant in the eGrants online record management system, eGrants. Once that's submitted, the Serve Washington staff will do a quick review for compliance, and organizations that are eligible to apply then get sent to a grant review committee, which is made up of our a subcommittee of our governor appointed board of commissions. The grant review committee reviews those and then makes a recommendation to the larger commission. The board of commissioners votes and awards are made, and then you get a planning grant to figure out if AmeriCorps is the path for you to take that may eventually lead to an operational grant in the future. The timeline for this is listed here. It is also in the RFGA. The big date I want to draw your attention to is March 17th. This is when completed applications will be due. Please note, it's not just March 17th, it's also by 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please pay attention to that. Another date is this April 21st. On that date, our grant review committee will be meeting, and applicants must be available by phone. In the event that our grant review committee wants additional clarification or has questions, we won't do interviews, but there might be additional questions that are asked by phone. So have somebody available for that. And call or no call on that day, neither is an indicator of being awarded or not being awarded. And then we go through the commission voting process, and you will hear from Serve Washington no later than May 15th if you've been awarded a grant application. So what does this planning grant look like? It is a year-long curriculum. We have a developed curriculum. There is a draft curriculum on our website with the RFGA. We'll kick off with an orientation on August 10th. And then after that, have monthly webinars on the second Thursday of every month. There is a requirement that there is a in-person regional training conference every spring in the Pacific region somewhere. Sometimes we've gone to Albuquerque, New Mexico. We've gone to Salt Lake City. We've gone to Arizona. This year we're going to California. So as you're thinking through your budget, be sure to plan for a 3-day regional conference. The other one to plan for is there will be a 2-day in-person subgrantee meeting in Olympia. All right, some key highlights to discuss. You will need to use the eGrant system to apply. This system, however, is built for operational grants, not planning grants. So you'll need to follow the RFGA very closely to make sure that you're including the correct information in the correct areas. Just follow that closely. For narrative, you will be limited to 10 pages of your narrative, but it doesn't include some of those other eGrants pages. So the budget and some of those other sections will not be included in those 10 pages. The budget for these planning grants is not to exceed $75,000. And be sure, as I mentioned on the last slide, to include the travel and training funds in your budget. Tips for working within the eGrants system. Create your application pieces outside of eGrants. eGrants was not intended to be a text creation system. So use Word outside of eGrants. And keep in mind, eGrants does not allow for fancy formatting. So you won't be able to have bold or italics. You can't include bulleted lists or charts. You can use all caps or different spacing for your section headings. eGrants will automatically double space when printing out applications. So if you are double spacing when you're typing in Word, or copy it into eGrants as double spaced, it'll quadruple space it. And the spacing is not always perfect between Word and eGrants. So print for the best review. Once you've got the pieces in, print out your application so that you can see with the transition from Word to eGrants, is it within that 10 pages? Are there funky characters where maybe some bold or italic was used in Word but didn't transition into the eGrant system? And also save and validate often in eGrants. It's a big bummer to lose work, so save and validate. Additional documents are required to be submitted along with the grant application in eGrants. Those should be emailed to the Serve Washington General inbox at servewa@ofm.gov. Those additional documents that you'll need to send in include an operational financial management survey, which includes a series of yes/no questions, and then some audited financials, either a single audit or other financials. It should be the most recent, and if you have none, you'll need to include a statement as to why. Here's another video that I cannot seem to get to play. My apologies for that technical delay. This one is called What's at Your Core. So on YouTube, if you search for What's at Your Core, AmeriCorps, it will show this video. So are you ready for AmeriCorps? Or at least a planning grant to spend a year figuring out if AmeriCorps is right for you and building building an AmeriCorps program before members come in. We kind of think about it of building a plane, right? If the plane's an AmeriCorps program, we've had programs start very first year operational, and they're building the plane as they're flying it, as they have members. We like the planning grant process to allow you to build the plane before you need to fly it and bring on members. So to determine if your organization is ready for AmeriCorps, we do have a readiness assessment and flow chart on our website. There's also the RFGA that you can consult. And any questions you may have, we are happy to discuss this. We can't help you develop your grant application, of course, since it's an open competition, but we're happy to answer any questions you might have. And again, a big reminder that applications are due no later than March 17th by 5 p.m. Thank you for joining us today. Again, let us know if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing your grant applications. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.